morning, Jackson staff and students. It is a terrific Tuesday today as we follow our Tiger Truths of be respectful, be responsible, and be safe. I have Miss Isabella DeLong here from Mr. Reese's 5th grade class to say the Pledge of Allegiance. Come on up. How are you? Okay, let's place our right hand on our heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Excellent job. Thank you very much. Okay, boys and girls, it is almost time to go on our much-awaited field trip. We are going to be seeing The Grinch this morning at the Beloit Theaters. I'm going to review a few things with you that I want to make sure. I want to make sure that all of our boys and girls know that you sit on your pockets on the bus. You keep your hands to yourself. You use a 0 voice, which is no talking, or a 1 whisper voice on the bus because the bus driver needs to be able to concentrate and pay attention. The other items that I want to make sure is that when you get to the theater that you have your listening ears on and you're listening to the adults and your classroom teachers. We have many children, the whole school, going on our field trip today. So once you are in your theater, I want to make sure that we are walking in one at a time. As we go, we're going to pick up a popcorn, and it's a kids pack, so it'll be in a pack, and you'll have a drink, and I think you'll have fruit chews and popcorn. You're going to be taking that and going into the theater. We are not picky about where we sit. We will be filling the whole theater. So boys and girls, I need you in every seat. We don't leave seats open. You follow along, you line up, we go right in. And so you will go in, sit on your pockets, not on our knees, not on our feet. We're not putting our feet on the seats. We're sitting very nicely in the chair. Our feet are not touching the seat in front of us. We're not kicking the seats in front of us. We must follow our Tiger Truths throughout the theater and throughout the show. If you have to go to the bathroom, I would prefer you use the bathroom here before we go. But of course, if you have to go, you tell your teacher and they'll go with you, or an adult will accompany you to the bathroom. Our main goal is to make sure that we get all of our children to the theater and then all the way home safely. So my next thing is that we keep our popcorn, goes in our mouth. It's not being put anywhere else. We're going to be clean and pick up after ourselves. Boys and girls, that means that we are sitting and behaving. We are watching the movie, not having a conversation and talking. I am sure your classroom teachers have reviewed all of these things with you because this is a wonderful movie experience. I love the story of the Grinch, and I can't wait for all of you to see the Dr. Seuss The Grinch. That'll be happening in just a moment. I am going to be reading over the announcements for who rides with each of the groups. First grade will have Mrs. Heft, or kindergarten will have Miss Penny Heft, Mrs. Scalish, Mrs. McDonald, Mr. Cervantes, Mrs. Riley, Mrs. Milanese, Mrs. McNeil, and Mrs. Lampher, and our kindergarten teachers. In first grade, we have Mrs. Bush-White, Mrs. Watson, Mrs. Demet, who today is Mrs. Peyton Opango, and Mrs. Hirsch. In second grade, we have Mrs. Balch, Mrs. Trop, Mrs. Schreier, Mrs. Ward, and Mrs. Ulrich. In third grade, we have Mrs. Maginot, Mrs. Calkins, Miss Galvin, Mrs. Dement, and Mrs. Splinter. In fourth grade, we have Mr. House, Mr. Duvall, Miss Drees, and Miss McGrath. In fifth grade, we have Mrs. Richardson, Miss Swanson, Mrs. Waterstone, and Mrs. Everhart. I will be calling names shortly for grade levels to go to the bus. All of our buses need to wait until we kind of make sure that we fit everybody on the bus. I hope all can fit on the buses, but in years past, we were very tight on space. So we're asking buses to wait a moment today so that we can make sure we have everybody on the buses. We'll start by loading the front buses first, And then when we get to the theater, we'll go in and begin. We'll have kindergarten in the very front of the theater and fifth graders at the very back of the theater. So we want kindergarten to start on row 1 and fifth grade to start in the back. And that's how we'll continue to move in and fill our seats in the theater. I'll see you in just a moment, and I'll be announcing class by class or grade level by grade level to go. Thank you so very much, and let's make it a terrific Tuesday today. And don't forget to be awesome.